I know a trans woman who has had her downstairs done. With these men, she has done everything that there is to do, and the men didn't know.
Hey, so this is incredibly creepy. We're going to check in with the unhinged corner of the LGBT community on TikTok, or as I call them, the Wi-Fi password movement, from the perspective of a normal gay guy who hasn't quite lost his marbles yet. In this bonus episode of the Brad vs. Everyone podcast, my daily show where we take on the craziest ideas from across the internet, our media, and our politics, all from an independent perspective. Up first, we have this lovely, extremely ladylike individual from TikTok, Lily Tino, explaining something that, warning guys, this is creepy.
I know a trans woman who has had her downstairs done, and she's told me about dates that she's gone on with men. With these men, she has done everything that there is to do, and the men didn't know. First and foremost, that is a testament to modern medicine that it's even possible for that to happen. But it's also an interesting quandary because at that point, what are you even really disclosing? What is there to disclose? There's no deception. When you're dating someone, you don't have to disclose every single thing about yourself up front. That's the fun of it. You get to learn about someone new. If you're in a relationship with someone for long enough, of course it's going to come up, probably sooner rather than later. When you trust someone, you can tell them. I personally put it on my dating profile, but not everyone does, and that's okay. Our transness is not the only thing that defines us.
So I'm not going to hold your hand when I say this. In fact, I'm probably going to keep at least a 10-foot distance, but this is incredibly rapey. This is incredibly creepy and predatorial. It's not normal and not okay to deceive people into intimate relations. And you should not be promoting that to millions of people on TikTok as if that's a perfectly fine and dandy, acceptable practice. It's not. It's actually incredibly relevant that you are, if you're a trans woman, born biologically male, and it's something that a lot of potential partners would not be comfortable with if they knew. Some still would, and if you tell them and you're in a consensual relationship, like, amazing. Great for y'all. But if you don't tell them, if you withhold that crucial information, many of them will feel tricked or betrayed or wouldn't have agreed to do it or to move forward with this relationship if they knew that knowledge. So it is creepy and sinister to withhold that knowledge. It's always deeply, I think, problematic to lie to people or trick them into intimate relations, but especially so when what you're talking about is like the very foundations of sexuality, which is biology, not identity, not how you feel inside, that you're tricking them about. That's not okay, and I can't believe I even have to explain that. It's also really bad advice to give to trans people, trans women in particular, because nothing justifies violence, to be clear. But if you trick men and they find out after the fact, you are putting yourself in a situation where violence or crimes may be committed against you. And I don't want that for anyone, but it's just like a common logical next step of what might happen if you put yourself in that situation. So you are giving people what not only is what you're doing immoral, but you are also giving people advice that if they follow it may make them unsafe. That's terrible in every single way imaginable. But hey, at least you got your 1.5 million views to fund your next trip to a restaurant where you can terrorize innocent waiters who call you sir.
Guy who dropped the food off, he called me sir twice in a row.
It's remarkable to me that even the comment section on TikTok, which is like probably the most left-wing and woke of any social media platform, totally disagreed with Lily on this. Absolutely not. I'm fully supportive of the trans community, and I have a psychology degree myself. You are harming the trans community by saying things like this. You should always disclose this. Non-disclosure is non-consent. Hope this helps. You absolutely should not lie to a prospective partner. Transparency from the start is key. Very weird take. That's absolutely not okay. What happens when that person eventually finds out and harms the trans person for lying to them? There's absolutely no point in lying. It is deceptive. This is such a good point. What is the point in lying? What is being achieved? Because if you disclose to a person and they're interested, then you can move forward. But if you disclose to a person and they're not interested, then in absence of that disclosure, you would be engaging in an act An intimate act with somebody who you knew if they knew the truth about you wouldn't want to be with you. That's not normal to want that. That's predatory to want that. And frankly, everything about this video is just giving a bouquet of red flags. But that makes it, sadly, par for the course for this particular creator, Lily Tino, who is a plague on the LGBT community and the trans community in particular. What do y'all think? Can you believe people actually think that's okay? Let me know in the comments, and hit that like button to reward my suffering. Now we're going to get into more unhinged TikToks from the alphabet people after this. The trans debate is getting insane.
My pronouns aren't preferred, they are mandatory.
The only way to figure out what's actually going on is with Ground News, an amazing service that I've used for years and used to prepare this show. Ground News gathers news from all across the world in one place, so you can see what both sides are saying and make up your own mind. It also shows you everything you need to know about a source's ownership, bias, and factuality. Take the recent UK Supreme Court decision, for example. Using Ground News, you can see how outlets on the left are spinning it. The Independent wrote, "Supreme Court ruling, just the latest curb on trans rights worldwide." Plus, you can see how right-wing media is covering the story. The Daily Wire wrote, "UK Supreme Court rules trans-identifying men are not women." That's quite the difference. Using Ground News, you can get a neutral summary of every story, see how both sides are framing it, see who's covering the story at all and who isn't, and most importantly, use your critical thinking skills to make up your mind for yourself. You can get the same plan that I use, which is the Vantage subscription, if you sign up through my link, ground.news/Brad, or scan the QR code on screen. Get 40% off unlimited access, which comes out to about $5 a month. This exclusive discount is available now through this link, so act now to break your media bubble and keep your critical thinking skills sharp. Remember that old viral video where it's like, "Why are you gay?"
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
Well, now we have woke people saying, "Why are you straight?" Yes, seriously. Welcome to 2025, I guess. Take a listen.
Being cis-het is the craziest thing to me. Like, honest to God. I told my cis-het friends this, and they kind of agree with it, which is like, to come out of the womb, go through a lifetime of experiences, and remain the same thing you were told you were as a kid. You were told you're a girl and you like boys, and you never questioned it. You squeeze the avocados at Trader Joe's to make sure that they're ripe enough, but you've never even tried to kiss a girl.
This video made me roll my eyes so hard, I think I gave myself a headache. Because guys, by the way, cis-het stands for cisgender heterosexual, meaning you're not transgender and you're straight. So it's basically just a woke, overly academic term that means like normal, like 95+% of the population would be described in this way. It's kind of the default setting of humans. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with being different, with not being typical. I think that's fine. I think that's totally okay in a free society. We don't all have to be the same, but it's like we don't need special woke buzzwords made up. What we're just talking about is like the default typical human experience, but that's what that means. And what happened to the whole idea that we're born this way? It's more complicated than that, but the essential argument behind the acceptance for gay people was that like it's not a choice, you can't change. Questioning it or going to therapies of any kind won't be able to change it. And yet, here's this person saying, like, why don't you just try it? Why haven't you thought about it? It's like, you're not doing progress. You are actually undercutting the fundamental immutability of these traits and these characteristics that was essential to fighting for acceptance for them in the first place. It's also incoherent and so absolutely backwards. By the way, guys, I just rolled out a new line of merch items based on the fact that together, suffering through this delulu, we are all on our last brain cell. So we got really cool sweaters and mugs and the like with the On My Last Brain Cell branding and slogan that you can check out at the link in the description or just in the description box on YouTube. We just released these new designs, so go take a look if you're interested. Up next, we have another Delulu TikTok to go through. And warning, guys, this is kind of nasty.
Dude, just brush your teeth. I'm disabled. I struggle with it. That's not an excuse. Just do it. It's not meant to be an excuse. It's meant to be an explanation. Explain to me like I'm 5 while you can't get off your fat and go move your arm up and down a couple of times and clean your nasty chompers. I'm disabled. Disabled means I'm not Disabled.
I'm sorry, what? Ew. Ew. Ugh. Girl, I am not buying this. Not for a second. Maybe there are some people who are truly so disabled that they can't brush their teeth, but clearly not you. You're the one recording yourself, moving your hand all like this, making a little skit. You can surely do the same for a frickin' toothbrush to maybe de-yellowify those interesting items you got in your mouth on display here. It's kind of insulting to people with genuine disabilities to suggest that therefore, because they're disabled, they're incapable of maintaining basic hygiene. That's actually not true. I think at least not in the vast majority of cases, and you are suggesting otherwise, apparently just because you're lazy and don't care about being gross. It's your life, it's your body. I'm gonna stay at least 10 feet away, that's just me. But like, if you want to be gross, it's a free country. You can be gross. Don't blame it on you being disabled when clearly you're not too disabled to do this and you are just making excuses for having nasty breath. Like a huge chunk of society today just has no concept of resilience, individual agency, personal autonomy, taking charge of your own life, and is just always looking for BS reasons to claim that everything is beyond their control and they're so helpless. You're not, in fact. You might have challenges, you might have hurdles that other people don't face, and we can have empathy and compassion for that, but you are not. Almost no one in America in 2025, I'm sure there are rare exceptions, is truly helpless and unable to improve or take charge of their life in any way. Some of y'all just want to be helpless so bad, and it is exhausting and, at least in this particular case, kinda nasty. Up next, guys, another TikToker's faking a hate crime. Take a listen to this one person's supposedly horrifying experience at the airport.
If you're wondering what it's like to travel as a trans person in America right now, I just checked in for my flight, and when I showed the guy my ID when I was dropping off my bag, he audibly said my dead first and middle name, so like everyone around could hear. So that's fun.
Oh no. How will you ever recover? I can't believe you had to go through that. You are so stunning and brave, bro. You mean when you approached the security agent at the airport, appearing as a man, and you handed them an identification that had a female name, say like Lauren, whatever. They said, "Oh, you're Lauren?" And then looked and made sure that you were the correct person before allowing you to go through security, just confirming that's your name. So they did their job, and you're acting like that's some kind of bias incident or victimization moment for you. That is pathetic. I mean, you can change your name, by the way. If you really want to, you can get a new passport, new driver's license, whatever, with a new name on it. If you haven't done that, you can't complain that they read the name that's on the ID you gave them to verify your identity. What? The audacity and entitlement of people on this app, on TikTok, never ceases to astound me. And like, obviously I'm not trans, I don't have gender dysphoria, so I can't fully understand what it must be like to have that experience, but are y'all really so fragile that just like, oh, what a few people around you in airport security here is so emotionally impactful for you? Also, making this about Trump, bruh, I have no idea what you're talking about. That could have easily happened when Obama was president, Biden was president. It's just normal security things happening to you. It's nothing about Trump's America that fomented this experience in your life, this terrible hate crime that supposedly happened to you. I think some of these people just need to be like stronger in their sense of self, because you shouldn't really care about the opinion of a couple strangers who, by the way, I doubt noticed or cared. They're like taking their shoes off to go through some stupid machine as part of like security theater at the airport, and they're trying not to miss a flight. They don't care what your name is, so they probably just moved on and kept it moving. But to be so worked up about what a few strangers might have heard suggests that you probably need to work internally on having more self-esteem and being more confident on the inside, because it's not normal and it's not healthy to be this fragile and this desperate to paint yourself as a victim in scenarios where you're literally not. Other than that, though, you're doing amazing, I guess. Up next, guys, this one's a doozy, because this TikTok therapist is actually awful. Take a listen.
Say it with me. I do not participate in conversations that seek to rationalize harm against other people. I don't participate in conversations that try to get me to change my position on basic human rights. If the conversation requires me to tolerate the human rights violation of literally anyone, I'm not participating participating in it. Yeah, I draw the line at participating in conversations that require me to debate someone's dignity and humanity. If you're trying to debate me, but you're not open to hearing alternative perspectives, I don't think this is a debate. I think this is just you trying to manipulate me into getting to feel the way that you do. You are always entitled to your opinion, but just know there is a difference between a difference in opinion and debating whether or not someone should exist. Look, I love you, but I am not down with having conversations that treat anyone as less than human. Look, I really care about our relationship, but not at the cost of me staying silent when people are literally losing their lives. Just because I love you, just because we're family, doesn't mean I have to stay and have this conversation with you. I'm gonna go.
Y'all, I hate it here so much sometimes. The audacity for this person, this woman, this therapist to say, well, oh, MAGA people aren't open to hearing other perspectives, while making an entire video about how unopen to hearing other perspectives she is and encouraging other people to use the same framework is so galling and so maddening. It's also just so full of straw man ridiculous arguments. No one is arguing those people shouldn't exist. That's not a thing. Not really, not in any mainstream political debate. There's arguments about all sorts of rights intersections, about complicated policy and moral and ethical questions. No one in American politics is saying those people shouldn't exist. Give me a break. For you to be shutting down other people's opinions while so out of touch with what they actually believe, and yet claiming you're somehow an expert in navigating these social dynamics is wild. And then this approach to conversation is, first off, never going to convince anyone. Get used to losing. You will never convince anyone in a democratic society of your viewpoint, of your far left gobbledygook worldview, by just telling them you're wrong and I won't speak to you because you don't respect human rights. That's not an argument. It's a way of opting out of an argument. And if you want to do that, just great. Give up on ever winning an election again, because you have to convince people in a society where the majority of people do not currently share your levels of delulu. So you're just kind of owning yourself and taking a massive L. But other than that, great job. And I hate when they say, well, this is just human rights, so therefore it's not up for debate. Y'all just label all your opinions human rights and then say no one can disagree with you. In fact, there's wide debate to be had about whether something is truly constitutes a human right or is in keeping with human rights. And in fact, there are a lot of Republican or conservative positions or non-left-wing positions that they view as human rights, the right to life for unborn babies, the right to bear arms in self-defense, that you probably disagree with. I'm making some assumptions here, but they, them in bio usually does not correlate with pro-life and pro-gun. By your own logic, they shouldn't speak to you or dignify you with a conversation because you oppose human rights. No, in reality, of course they should, because we should be exchanging ideas. We should be trying to convince people. We should be trying to have good faith dialogues. But by your own twisted, demented, busted, crusted worldview, they should not even dignify you with a conversation because you're against human rights. Do you see how trite this is? You see how childish this is? These people make me want to pull my hair out, and listening to them destroys my brain cells. But I do it for you guys because y'all are a little sick. You enjoy it. You like watching me suffer and lose brain cells for your entertainment pleasure and viewing pleasure. So that's what I do. That'll be it for this bonus episode. I can't handle any more of these crazy TikTok videos in one sitting without throwing up my lunch. Let me know in the comments what you thought of all this, which one of them was your favorite. Do remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet. Remember to check out the merch items, and thanks again to Ground News for sponsoring today's video. With that, we'll talk again real soon.